my favorite people, today we're checking out some Irish mythology. I've been really interested in the folklore and like storytelling that you guys have, especially now that we've started the entire culture series over on this channel, and I actually got some requests to do a video like this, so I was like, why not? I don't really know much about y'all's stories or myths. I didn't even know about the man on the moon. I know this video is probably gonna shock me and like just blow my mind. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get right into it. This is the top 10 Irish myths and legends. Subscribe if you're new here. This is the culture channel. We only react to cultural videos over here, so if you're into that, subscribe, like the video, DM me video requests over on Instagram, and check out my other channels as well. Yeah, here we go. Obviously in America, we have like British and Irish TV characters, and sometimes they talk about y'all stuff, like Lagertha and all them, the pirates and stuff. I haven't ever seen anything dedicated just to the myths, so let's see.
Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching Top 10's Net, and in the video today, we're looking at the top 10 Irish myths and legends.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
Let's see. A lot of
Ireland's
like warriors, I'm
history
sure.
is riddled with ancient mythology and folklore. Ireland's ancient societies, the Druids and the Celtics, believed in the power of magic, and many of these beliefs spread to modern-day legends told again and again across the country. Stories of warriors with all the knowledge of the world, fairies playing pranks on farm owners, and leprechauns hiding their gold at the end of a rainbow all add to the mysterious appeal of Ireland. Let's get started.
I always wondered, why the heck did Irish people get, like, Lucky Charms? Not everybody over there is a leprechaun. Not even all of y'all are redheads. So, anyways, first up we got the Banshee. Banshee. Or Banshee.
Number 10, the Banshee. The Banshee was a woman who carried with her an omen of death. Sometimes you saw the Banshee as an old woman dressed in rags, sometimes you saw her as a young and beautiful girl, and sometimes you saw her as a washwoman, wringing out bloody clothing. Whenever she was seen, she let out a horrible cry, and legend has it that this cry brought death to any family that heard it. King James I of Scotland thought he was approached by a banshee. Shortly after, he died at the Earl of Atholl.
Dang.
Number 9.
So, with that, it kind of just adds some, like, realism to the story. If the king is saying it happened to him, and people are, like, spreading that tale throughout the land, everyone's gonna believe in it. And also, isn't the banshee, like, a real-life animal that probably screeches? So, it's hard to see, is this stuff real or is it fake, you know? If I can believe in Jesus Christ and be a Christian, who's to say these stories can't be real? You know, I've never seen Jesus Christ face to face, so I've never seen a banshee, but I believe in Jesus, so I gotta believe in the banshees and y'all's folklore. So, this is cool. The pukas. A lot of these names aren't intimidating. Like, if you walk up to me and say, I'm a puka, I'm gonna smack you.
Pukas.
Pukas.
The Pukas are a certain type of fairy, one bent on creating havoc in the mortal world. The Puka appeared at night across rural Ireland and the seaboard. On a good day, the Puka would cause destruction on a farm, tearing down fences and disrupting the wild animals. On a bad day, the Puka would stand outside the farmhouse and call the people outside by name. If anyone came out, the Puka would carry them away. The Pukas also loved to mess with the ships pulling away from Ireland and were blamed for many shipwrecks along the rocky coast. Number 8.
So, I'm understanding that y'all kind of use your folklore or storytelling as a way to explain bad things that happen, I guess. But also, was the puka the guy on the horse, or was the puka the horse? Because the horse can't call you by name. Anyways, we got the Changelings. Now, I saw this actually in Jamie... What's the show called? It's in Scotland. Outlander. The Changelings were like these little fairies that take the babies to a forest and like trade off the human baby for a fairy. And like they were scared of it in the show. So a changeling is like a fairy baby, but it's like evil. So there's one thing I know.
Changelings. As legend has it, female fairies often give birth to deformed children. Since the fairies prefer visually pleasing babies, they would go into the mortal world and swap with a healthy human baby.
That's rude.
Behind a changeling. While the changeling looked like a human baby, it carried none of the same emotional characteristics. The changeling was only happy when misfortune or grief happened in the house. The changeling legend has lasted for centuries. William Shakespeare talks of a changeling in his play A Midsummer Night's Dream. 300 years later, Scarlett O'Hara believed Rhett Butler's illegitimate child was a changeling in Gone with the Wind.
Okay, I think that one is definitely just an excuse to like give you a reason to hate on the baby or the child. Like if your husband cheats on you and the baby comes out deformed, oh look what you did. You had sex with a fairy and now you got a changeling. Your baby has Down syndrome. Oh, it's a changeling. I feel like this one was definitely just an excuse for like to give reason to give away deformed or unnatural babies, which is kind of sad.
Number 7, Dagda's harp.
Dagda's harp.
In Irish mythology, the Dagda was a high priest who had a large and beautiful harp. During a war, a rival state stole
beautiful.
Dagda's harp and took it to an abandoned castle. Dagda followed the tribe and called to the harp. The harp came to Dagda and he struck the chords. The harp let out the music of tears and everyone in the castle began to cry.
Oh.
Dagda struck the chords again and the harp played the music of mirth and all the warriors began to laugh. Then Dagda struck the chords a final time and the harp let out the music of sleep. Everyone but Dagda fell into a deep sleep, allowing him to escape with his magical harp unharmed.
Homie just went in there to steal his harp back? I thought he was gonna kill him. But I guess. My superpower is playing the harp. My harp can control you. Okay, just break the harp.
Number 6, the Children of Lir. The story of the Children of Lir comes from the Irish mythological cycle. Lir was the lord of the sea. He had a wife and 4 children. When Lir's wife died, he married his wife's sister, Aoife.
Oh man. Not the sister. Ew. Okay, adultery and all that stuff is something that I guess it has always been a problem in the UK. You know, you got the royal family cheating on each other, and even your gods back in the day were cheating on each other. That's unfortunate. Your wife dies and you go after her sister. Even if you're a god, that's still not okay.
Aoife was jealous of Lir's children and wanted to be rid of them. One day, Aoife took the children to a lake. While they were swimming, she performed a spell on them and turned them into swans. Under the spell, the children were to remain as swans until they heard the sound of a Christian bell. The swans swam from lake to river to stream for years, waiting for the sound of that bell. But it wasn't until St. Patrick came to Ireland that the children could be free of the curse.
St. Patrick.
100 years later.
Dang. Friggin' 100 years as a swan because your aunt is jealous of you. Like, was she barren? Why didn't she just adopt them? That is so messed up. Man. She was pretty too in the little character, so it's always the pretty ones who you gotta watch out for. They're the scary ones. But again, we celebrate St. Patrick's Day, so if this is the story of St. Patrick, like, why are we celebrating some swans?
Number 5, St. Patrick. For most people, St. Patrick is the man who brought a day of good times and green beer to pubs across the world. In reality, St. Patrick wasn't made a saint until centuries after his death, and he wasn't even Irish. St. Patrick was born in Britain to a wealthy family. During his childhood, he was kidnapped and sold into slavery in Ireland. During his years in slavery, he converted to Christianity, and once freed, he did spend the rest of his life teaching the Irish about the Christian religion, but he was soon forgotten after his death. It wasn't until many years later that monks began telling the tale of St. Patrick forcing all the snakes out of Ireland. Something he never could have done, as there never were any snakes in Ireland.
Wait, so if the legend of St. Patrick's literally he was just a freaking, what do you call the people? Not a minister, but the person who spreads religion. Those kind of people. The same thing the colonizers did. The hype about St. Patrick is he was rich, then he was sold into slavery, then he came out, converted to Christianity, and converted Irish people to become Christians. And now he has a whole day dedicated to him in America. I guess. Anyways, we got the Shamrock.
Before, the Shamrock. The 3 green leaves of the Shamrock is more than the unofficial symbol of Ireland and once of the marshmallows in Lucky Charms.
A 3-leaf clover is actually called a shamrock. Okay. Who dumbed it down to 3-leaf clover? Probably the Americans.
The Shamrock has held meaning to most of Ireland's historic cultures. The Druids believed the Shamrock was a sacred plant that could ward off evil. The Celtics believed the Shamrock had mystical properties due to the plant's 3 heart-shaped leaves. The Celtics believed 3 was a sacred number. Some Christians also believed the Shamrock had special meaning, the 3 leaves representing the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
Number 3, Finn MacCool.
That's cool.
Finn MacCool is a mythological warrior that appears in several Irish legends. One popular story tells of a salmon that knew of all the world's knowledge. Finn decided to eat the salmon in order to gain the knowledge. As he was cooking the fish, juice squirted out and burned Finn's thumb. Finn stuck his thumb in his mouth to stop the pain and instantly learned the knowledge the salmon carried. From then on, anytime Finn sucked his thumb, he gained whatever knowledge he was seeking. Number 2.
That's just a funny one. I don't think that one's true, but that's a cool story. Who came up with that? We got fairies. Those have been like just a worldwide thing now. Everybody believes in fairies or knows about fairies.
Faeries. Fairies exist in some form.
Y'all spell it weird though.
in mythology all over the world, but hold a special importance to the Irish.
Winx Club.
The fairy society in Ireland is thought to be very much alive and far from Peter Pan's Tinkerbell. An Irish fairy can take any form she wishes, but will usually choose a human form. They are said to be beautiful, powerful, and hard to resist, which is unfortunate because most fairies in Ireland love to bring misfortune and bad luck to the mortals who come near them.
Gosh dang
Number
it.
1.
The poor fairies, though, they get a bad rap. Who has proof that it was a fairy who did it to you? You know, maybe the fairies are just trying to live their life, and all of a sudden they're like the outcasts of society. Justice for the fairies. But the changeling thing is kind of messed up. Anyways, we've got leprechauns. The grandest thing about Ireland mythology. Let's see.
Leprechaun.
It's just little people with red hair. I don't want to use the word midget because that's derogatory. But it's literally just smaller people with red hair, and they call them leprechauns.
The leprechaun is likely the most widely known type of fairy living in Ireland.
Why is he looking like
Leprechauns
that, though?
have been in existence in Irish legends since the medieval times. Traditionally, leprechauns are tall fairies and often appear to humans as an old man. Much different from the modern view of a small, childlike fairy in a green suit.
Yeah, that's the
As
complete
legend holds,
opposite.
leprechauns love to collect gold, which they store in a pot and hide at the end of a rainbow. If a human catches a leprechaun, the fairy must grant the human 3 wishes before he can be released.
Like a genie.
So I really hope you enjoyed that video about...
Okay, that completely just contorted my brain about leprechauns. So it's not even like they're short in stature with red hair, they wear the little green outfits and stuff. They're like old men who are super tall, apparently back to the real legend. So yeah, a lot of misconstrued stories. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Like it, subscribe, bye.